my anxiety. So this is going to be really good practice.
Awesome. Well, I don't want to take too much of your time, but I did want to introduce you. This is Michelle Holleman. She is a TrinityPrep parent. She's also a therapist in the area. She's one of my favorite people. We're so thrilled and excited to have her tonight on this community talk. There are some people I think on here that maybe not familiar with Trinity. We do these once a month, and you're welcome to come on and share them with your friends. This one is just a topic I think we all need right now with managing anxiety, and she's going to give us some great techniques to help us. So that was a lame way of introducing you. You're so much more than that. You can tout yourself right now with all your credentials. And thank you again for being on here tonight.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks so much. It's always my honor. So hi, everybody. My name is Michelle Holleman. I'm actually a clinical addiction specialist, and I'm also a sex addiction therapist. I do Emdr, which we're actually going to talk a little bit about today. I own Life Healing Counseling here in Charlotte. I'm a primary therapist at Seeking Integrity in Los Angeles, so I fly out there occasionally. And I'm also a consultant at the Chicago Center for Sexual Wellbeing. So I'm pretty busy, but I am happy to take some time to do this today. It's always a pleasure to help out, especially as a parent at TrinityPrep, one of my favorite places on earth. So tonight, No, why do you have to do that? So tonight, oh, someone's mute. That's okay. We're all kind of winging it tonight. Believe me, my presentation, I'm managing my own anxiety tonight because my presentation just got lost. I don't know where it is. So I'm going to wing it. But it's something I'm really excited to talk to you about. But we're going to talk about strategies of how to manage our anxiety. And this is going to be a little different because we're going to use brain science to do it. I love neuroscience. It's something I'm super passionate about because I specialize in addiction and I treat trauma. I'm a trauma specialist. It's something I do all the time. It's a great combination, and we can use it to treat anxiety as well. So when we think about anxiety, everyone usually kind of knows what anxiety is and is usually able to recognize it. It's really common, which we know. And according to the National Institute of Mental Health, teens actually have a higher level of anxiety than adults do. And especially now, we're recognizing that, right, with the pandemic. The Institute found that 19% of all US adults have suffered from an anxiety disorder in the last year, but 32% of teens have. So it's much higher in teens than in adults, which makes sense. So some symptoms of anxiety, which we think of, which are common, we think of kind of sweaty palms, armpit sweat, kind of that stuff, trouble sleeping, changes in appetite, irritability, trouble concentrating, some things like ruminating thoughts. That means thoughts that kind of just stay in your head. They're kind of noodling around in there and you can't get rid of them. Racing thoughts, thoughts that just play over and over and over again. Fatigue is one. Upset stomach, stomach pain is something that people see often. That can be an anxiety. Changes in appetite, increase in blood pressure. These are all things that can be anxiety. Another one is muscle aches. Sometimes people's backs hurt, right? Or their necks, tense muscles, that can always be anxiety. One thing that's a symptom of anxiety is also panic attacks. Some people have panic attacks. You probably, or maybe you've had one, I hope not. A panic attack is something that comes on pretty suddenly and it takes a while for symptoms to decrease. So symptoms are a pending sense of doom and sweating and heart palpitations, trouble breathing. You feel like your chest is heavy or you're choking. People talk about they feel like they're going to pass out. People actually think they're dying. They actually say they feel like they're dying or they're having a heart attack. It can be very serious. And people call 911 all the time for people, and it's just a panic attack, but it's a very serious thing, and it's very scary for people. That's real. So like a lot of things, anxiety is a result of different personality traits and emotional responses. And those are all byproducts of the interaction between our genetics and our environment. Our genes can make us more receptive to certain stimulus or stimuli, and they can play a role in developing our resilience to some other stimuli. So, for example, intelligence, cognitive function, those can be inherited, and they can give us the ability to make more realistic plans, and give us the ability to carry out these plans. They can make us be able to more effectively manage our feelings or impulses in a more healthy manner. They can give us good communication skills or have more confidence in our strengths and abilities. And that paired with a certain environment can be a real positive and give us less anxiety. While we know that no single gene or gene variant explains resilience, almost everybody can learn and train to be more resilient, which is what we're going to do a little bit later. We can learn, and our brain can always change because there's something called neuroplasticity, like a plastic brain. It's called neuroplasticity. The thing that's cool about neuroplasticity is we always have it, but it starts out that we have it more when we're young. So I like to think of younger brains as like a brand new can of Play-Doh, which I've kind of talked about before if you've ever been to one of these talks that I've done about addiction or anything else. Like teenagers, young people have this new can of Play-Doh brain. So you can like take it out and, you know, play with it, make it a dinosaur or whatever, and squish it back and make it into a million different shapes. And my brain is more like a 4-day-old can of Play-Doh, where there are like chunks falling off and there are flakes, and like you can't really break it apart without pieces falling off. The older our brain gets, the less neuroplasticity it has. So that's why when we talk about children are like a sponge and they soak in everything and they can learn languages really quickly. That's why their brains are firing off really fast. They're forming new neural pathways like lightning. So it makes them more able to form new neural pathways. So the sooner we kind of start teaching them these strategies and they start practicing them, the better they'll get, the stronger they will get. The same thing for us older folk. But, you know, it might take us a little longer to kind of develop these as strong. The kids are going to get it like that, which is great. So the younger we start, the better it can be. But we're never too old to learn new things. Like, I don't believe that. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. I learn new stuff all the time. So sometimes we can think of anxiety as fear, because they're both associated with stress and anxiety. So you always hear people say, I'm scared and stressed, or I'm anxious and stressed. Fear and stress are trauma responses. And therefore, regular trauma responses, right? There's fight, flee, freeze, and there's fawn. I don't know if you've heard of fawn. Most people have heard of, you know, fight, flee, and freeze. Fawning is the use of like people pleasing to diffuse conflict or feel more secure in relationships. You earn the approval of others, makes you more comfortable. It's basically like not wanting to rock the boat in relationships. So an example would be saying you don't have a preference for where you get dinner when you actually do, or validating a perspective that you actually don't agree with or behavior you don't like. That would be fawning. You don't want to rock the boat. So those are all trauma responses. Fear and stress are normal defensive reactions to threats, and they help our body deal with challenges much more efficiently. But anxiety is different from fear. It's a set of emotional and physical or body reactions. We call those somatic reactions to a future threat that may or may not be realistic. So for example, I don't like spiders. So for me, like anxiety would be me thinking about a spider that could be in my room in the corner, And if my anxiety increases, I might really start thinking about that spider that may not even be there. But I anticipate the spider, that it's a possibility there could be a spider. But what if there isn't? But I can't stop thinking about that possibility. So it's a possible future threat as well. And then I have a physical reaction to it. So to some extent, having anxiety, it is a normal reaction, but if it continues over a prolonged period and we don't learn to manage our symptoms or develop resilience, it can have an adverse effect on our health, our physical health, and our daily life. You've heard of anxiety disorders. Like some people talk about generalized anxiety disorder or social anxiety disorder. So anxiety is considered a disorder if certain anxious symptoms persist over a period of 6 or more months. So a person that has an anxiety disorder experiences like neurological basic changes in mood and body functions. But this is what I want to say. Please do not self-diagnose yourself. Please don't do self-diagnosis. We are in a global pandemic. So everyone in the world right now is feeling a little bit more anxious and maybe a little bit more depressed, but especially more anxious. We've got a lot going on. This past year, we've had a lot more going on. So an increase in anxiety is probably pretty normal for everyone. So please don't start thinking and ticking off symptoms and going, well, my stomach has been hurting more, and oh, my palms were sweating, or I have been thinking about this. And please don't, Dr. Google is not going to tell you. Please don't Dr. Google or Dr. WebMD, which is rhetorical. If you think you may have an issue with real anxiety and it's been lasting a really long time, please talk to somebody, talk to a therapist, talk to somebody who's professional who can actually talk to you about it. Please don't self-diagnose yourself. It's not a good idea, because then you start really falling down a rabbit hole, and before you know it, you've got some stuff you don't even want to think about. So when we talk about anxiety disorders, what can make someone more vulnerable to this? This is kind of what parents always ask me. You're like, how do I know if my kid's at risk? So other than genetic factors, like we talked about, environment is also sometimes something that can make people more anxious. And this is what people really think about, like exposure to a stressful situation. For some people, going to a concert is really stressful if you have a social anxiety situation. Like they don't like being in crowds. It can be extremely stressful. Drug and alcohol use, it can increase anxiety. It can induce anxiety. Marijuana, anxiety inducing a lot of times. Stressful life events, global pandemic, a natural disaster, like what happened in Texas, a war. All these kinds of things can be very anxiety inducing, like we think about. Parenting style can also increase anxiety in our children. If we're putting a lot of pressure on our kids, they can grow up to be very anxious and fearful. So if we're pressuring them all the time, or we're insisting they do things, or we're, you've got to get an A, you've got to get an A. Sometimes that can be a lot for kids, and they can feel more anxious and be more stressed. So all these things can be things that make them more vulnerable to actually developing an anxiety disorder, not just feeling anxious. Okay, so don't worry, we're getting to all the cool stuff, but we have to talk about our brains and how this is going to all work when we get to all the cool stuff I'm going to show you. Okay, the neuroanatomy of stress and anxiety. Okay, so the higher thinking cognitive centers in our brain are right here. This is called the prefrontal cortex. This is where we think and we plan and we have rational thinking and all our social behavior. This is where it's all located. This is our, executive functioning. It doesn't really finish developing until like 25 or 26 years old. So, when you think about, teens, it's not fully developed in there. They haven't fully developed right here. From an evolutionary perspective, this part of our brain, the prefrontal cortex, is kind of the newer part of the brain that helps us keep our emotions in check. So because this is not this is adult. So when you think of teens not having this fully developed, I always think of the, my teen stomping up the stairs, screaming, "I hate you," and slamming the door. That is a very teen thing to do. It's not something adults typically do. But that's, she's not real developed right here yet. She's not done. Got some more developing to do. So she's operating from a part of her brain that is more ancient. It's also what we call the lizard brain. All the emotional processing in our brain happens from the part of our brain called the limbic system. It's the back part of our brain and the midbrain. It is, it's how it plays an essential role. The structure's in there. It's like the hippocampus. There's something called the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, the HPA axis, very fancy word for like the midbrain and the back of the brain. And all of this plays an essential role in developing resiliency towards stress and anxiety, this part of the brain. But the most important part of the limbic system is that plays a central role in how we regulate our emotions is this little almond-shaped kind of thing about that big called the amygdala. It's really important and it's central to the formation of how fear and anxiety-related memories form, and it's been shown to be actually hyperactive when people have anxiety disorders. It's very well connected with other brain structures like the hippocampus, the thalamus, the hypothalamus. And what it does, the whole purpose of this little thing, the amygdala, is it dumps neurotransmitters. It's like does a big chemical dump. It regulates all the chemicals in our brain, like the hormones, like serotonin, adrenaline, dopamine, norepinephrine, and cortisol. So if you need to run, to flee, the amygdala will go, "Oh, this is dangerous. You need to run." And it'll do a big adrenaline dump so you can run away from the danger. The other thing they've discovered is that the amygdala is also really important in forming memories that are associated with fear-inducing events that would cause anxiety. So they did this experiment and they took mice that had intact amygdalas and played this tone right before they gave them an uncomfortable foot shock. It's not very nice, but they did that. And then, like we know, mice will eventually very quickly begin to associate that tone, that sound, with the unpleasant shock. And eventually they will display a fear reaction, like freezing in place, as soon as the tone is played, but before the shock is initiated. So if you attempt this experiment in mice with lesions on the amygdala or removed amygdala, right, they display an impaired ability to remember that the tone happens before the foot shock. So you can play the tone and they will continue about their business as if they have no bad memories associated with the tone or the noise. So they'll just act like nothing's happening and they'll hear the tone and they'll just get the foot shock and never remember that. So the amygdala provides anticipation of fear and anticipation. It kind of reminds us that we should be anxious, which is really important. It's important to understand how our memory and anxiety is important to our survival. So example, if I walk alone to my car at night in the dark, and I already know that crimes are more likely to happen if I'm alone in a parking lot at night, I'm going to experience fear and anxiety, right? Which makes me more alert. My amygdala is going to do like an adrenaline dump, a chemical dump. It makes my eyes dilate. It kind of intensifies a lot of senses, like my hearing, lets in more light so I can see better. My senses will be sharper, and it helps protect me. If I've actually experienced a crime walking to my car at night in a dark parking lot, I probably have some pretty scary memories of this and probably some PTSD. This would make me hypervigilant. Those memories would probably help me survive even more by avoiding the entire situation. I would probably I would leave before dark. I would have someone walk me to my car if I absolutely had to do that. But I would probably park really close to the door, have someone watch me, have my phone out. I'd be hyper vigilant about it to avoid that entire situation. So it's helping me survive, and it's that memory of the anxiety and fear of that stress that's keeping me alive longer. So now you guys can get ready. We're going to learn how to regulate this anxiety when we aren't actually trying to survive. But it's important to understand kind of what's happening in our brain when we experience anxiety, these chemical dumps, so that we understand kind of what's happening when we do these exercises that I'm going to show you. But we're going to learn how to regulate our anxiety when we're not actually trying to survive, but when we're trying to do normal things in life, like when we have to make a presentation and your entire presentation is gone and you have to wing it for TrinityPrep, when you have to take a test, or just even when we have to relax for our health and our wellness, and we just need to really be able to do that. So the first thing we're going to learn is called butterfly hug breathing. So what we're going to do, if you guys can all join me, I can't see you because I'm on this, so I hope you're doing it, but you cross your arms like this, and you kind of hook your thumbs like this. Okay, now what you're going to do, you cross your arms at your wrist and lock your thumbs, and you form like a butterfly. See, just that is really nice. But what we're going to do is rest the butterfly on our chest, okay? And the wings are pressing on these two soft spots located right below our collarbone. My necklace is a little in the way, but right below our collarbones, like right here on each side of our chest. And then what I want you to do is start to breathe in and out while you gently massage. So you breathe in and breathe out. Try to regulate your breathing. So you breathe in and massage twice. You breathe out and you're making small circles, light pressure. You're not like pushing or anything. You breathe in for 2 circles and out for 2 circles. And be really mindful, like if you're sitting really straight up, sit back. If your legs are really tense, relax them. If your arms are being held out, relax them. This should be relaxing. If you need to close your eyes, you can. So you breathe in for 2 circles and breathe out for 2 circles. Breathe in for 2 circles. Breathe out for 2 circles. So while you're doing that, is everybody doing that? I hope so. So while you're doing that, I want you to try this while you're relaxed, thinking relaxing, happy thoughts. Just concentrate on your breathing in for 2 circles. Notice, just notice, don't judge, just notice any tight spots, any places of tension in your body. I know I sound like a yoga teacher right now, but I'm not. And kind of release that and relax it. And you're breathing in and out. Okay. So this is something you can do at any time. What it's actually doing is lowering your blood pressure. The longer you do this, the more it will work. The next thing we're going to do is called acupressure breathing. This is another way to breathe. So that's butterfly breathing, but remember this because we're going to do something else with this. There's an acupressure point right here that you guys probably know about, but we're going to do the same thing. You can do it on either hand. This is all about acupressure. And what you do is firmly and slowly massage the muscle with your thumb and your index finger, but you have to do your same breathing. So breathe in for 2 circles and breathe out for 2 circles. Breathe in for 2 circles. And breathe out for 2 circles. What's really great about this exercise is that you can do it even in a meeting or during a Zoom call.
Can you show your hands again?
Oh, sorry, I'm not showing it. You guys don't, I'm like down here relaxing. Yeah, it's like, so it's like this. I'm using my thumb and my index finger and I'm gently squeezing. Let me turn this side. And I'm just applying gentle pressure and I'm rubbing right there in that webbing. You can do either hand. And I'm not doing fast. I'm not doing it like that. Slow circles. You breathe in for 2 and out for 2. So those are some kind of quick fixes. Those are little quick fixes. Again, oh, there you guys are. Is anyone's blood pressure going down? I can't see most of you, but is anyone's blood pressure like a little bit going down, or you feel it all? Okay, good. Angie's nodding, Doug's nodding. Good. Those are the only people I can see. Perfect. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do, and here comes the real science. Those are like quick fixes, but they work really fast. If you're like, it just kind of makes you calm down, and acupressure is the real thing. It's very good. And it just kind of makes you low. So we're going to talk about this. What I want you to do is do the butterfly thing again, like this. And then what we're going to do is just lay our hands gently on our chests. And we're very gently and slowly just going to tap. Just like this. Oh, good. Someone said I'm feeling less stressed. Yay. Okay. So we're just going to do this kind of slowly. Okay. What you're doing right now, don't close your eyes. Not yet. What you're doing is called bilateral stimulation. You are stimulating both sides of your brain at the same time. Okay. Bilateral stimulation is part of something called Emdr. We are not going to do Emdr because it is not safe. You are not my clients. You haven't signed a release, and I haven't put in safety protocols. So we're not going to do that, but we can do something called resourcing. So bilateral stimulation is stimuli. It can be visual, it can be auditory, or it can be tactile. This is tactile. Since COVID, and we're doing therapy a lot on Zoom and on other visual platforms, I have found that this, which would be visual, that looks horrible. Most people don't want to see their therapist waving their arm in front of their face. So we've switched to stuff like this and like this. So it's tactile. Some people have headphones and there are tones you can wear, auditory, and the tones go back and forth, rhythmic, left-right pattern. So bilateral stimulation it's part of EMDR, and it was discovered actually accidentally by Dr. Francine Shapiro. She was walking, this is in the late 1980s, okay? She was walking in a park, and as she was walking, she noticed that she was having some distressing feelings, and she noticed as she was walking, they stopped. And when she thought back on what happened, she remembered she had experienced some kind of like staccato, like some eye movements, kind of like rapid blinking. And it led her to start experiment. And she discovered when a person deliberately focuses on a distressing memory and concentrates on a form of bilateral stimulation, and she used rapid eye movements, which is what EMDR, it's eye movement desensitization reprocessing. When they focus on a distressing memory and then they concentrate on bilateral stimulation, their distress is reduced. The distressing memory actually becomes less distressing in a long-term way. And this is what led to the development of EMDR, which we use as a treatment for anxiety, depression, and PTSD. So if you want more information on EMDR, I will give it to Doug, and he can give you information specifically on this. It is a trauma treatment, but if I go into it right now, it's going to be like this whole thing. But what I can tell you, it is evidence-based. This is science. It is not hypnosis. It is not voodoo magic, even though a lot of my clients think it is. It is endorsed by the American Psychiatric Association, the Department of Veteran Affairs, Department of Defense, SAMHSA, World Health Organization. It is used for PTSD treatment. When Francine Shapiro started experimenting and testing it, she first tested it on Vietnam vets, rape victims, and train conductors. And these really traumatic memories, obviously, were greatly reduced. So those are some people with some real anxiety. Write down. So we're going to use bilateral stimulation, not to treat trauma today, because we're not doing that. But what we're going to do is use the effects of it. And there are 4 main effects of it. Okay, it's a relaxation effect using it, like decreased physical arousal, like it reduces, it was the same thing as this. So if you're doing this, it's kind of relaxing, just kind of feels good. So it kind of reduces your physiological arousal. It also increases your what's called attentional flexibility, which means your thoughts become less stuck on whatever was bothering you. You just kind of things start to kind of flow in your head better. It provides this thing called like a distancing effect, which means the problem seems kind of smaller and further away. My clients call it like they don't feel things as intensely. I'll ask them like, so how intensely do you feel this now on a scale of like 0 to 10? They're like, I mean, it was at like a 9, but now it's like at a 4. It's just, I can think about the thing. It just doesn't bother me as much. So that's really good. And it also kind of decreases worry. The reason this is working, this bilateral stimulation, in EMDR, we don't do this. This is for what we're going to do today called resourcing. In EMDR, it's much faster and harder. It's more like that. It's rapid. We're not doing rapid. We're going to do slow and relaxing. But it's a bottom-up experience. So the lower areas of the brain, the limbic system, the decreased tension, the physiological stuff, travels up the brain towards the mental stuff, towards the prefrontal cortex, which decreases the worry. So we start like decreased tension, decreased worry. And that's how the brain normally processes information. So the effects are experienced more quickly and more easily than with like CBT, which is what I also do, like cognitive behavioral therapy, which is top down. Like I have to think about it and then I change. So it goes in the natural way. It's pretty remarkable stuff. And it's all science. Like insight, conscious introspection, all that stuff. So it goes bottom up. It's different. So this is very exciting. This is your big lesson. We're going to do resourcing. Okay, resourcing, they're people, places, images, qualities, memories, experiences. They can be real or they can be imagined that we can use and draw upon to create a sense of safety, which tells our brain we're safe. Resources can include any kind of qualities like joy, wisdom, love, relaxation, contentment. These are all great qualities. So what we're going to do is we are going to create what's called a safe place. This is going to be our safe place. What's wonderful about this resource is once we do this, it is yours. It will be yours forever. You will have it like locked in. You can change it. Obviously, it's not like I'm not noodling with your brain or, damaging. I can't break you. It's nothing like that. This is very safe. So we're going to create a safe place. So what I want you to do is everybody relax and get comfortable. And this is for, you can use this for any kind of anxiety. You can use this technique and we're going to test it so you know it's working. So what I want you to do is get your butterfly, cross your arms, your hands at your wrists, lock your thumbs and put your, on your chest. We're not going to rub, but we're going to do our bilateral stimulation. Don't do it yet. Just hold it here. And when I tell you to start tapping, I want you to tap. You'll close your eyes. So what I want you to do is everybody just kind of relax and sit back and kind of just enjoy this experience. I want you to imagine a beautiful island, an absolutely beautiful place, a beach or an island. If you don't like islands, you can make it like the shore, like a beach. Somewhere either you've been, somewhere you want to go. But I want you to imagine and hear the sound of the sea. I want you to feel the wind, smell the ocean. Maybe you're sitting in a chair or lying in a hammock. You can feel the warm sun. You can see the ocean. You hear the waves hitting the shore. Maybe you see palm trees. There's no one else on this beach. There's no one else on this island. It's serene, but you're very safe. You can hear the wind and you smell the smells. Maybe you have a drink next to you that's sweet and it's like you can taste it on your tongue because you just had a sip. You feel very serene. You can feel the sand in your toes. Maybe you're in a hammock and you're swaying back and forth. And when you have this beautiful, relaxing image, what I want you to do is I want you to tap it in. Slowly tap it in using your butterfly. And hold that image in your head. You're feeling the sun and the wind. You're seeing the ocean. Just tap it in. Okay, now stop tapping. Keep thinking about your special safe place. And let's give it a name. Let's call it the beach. So I want you to hold that image in your head and all the sensations and all this relaxation and beautiful thoughts and the feelings that are associated with your place. And let's call it the beach. And I want you to start tapping while you think of this beautiful place and repeat the beach while you're tapping. Ready? Go, say it out loud. The beach. The beach. The beach. Keep going. Good. Okay, everybody open your eyes. Okay. Can everybody turn their cameras on? No? Okay. I can't see you. Oh, good. On. You don't have to have mute off, but I need to see you guys because I want to make sure you're okay. Is everyone got their beach? Is everybody liking the beach? Are we good? Thumbs up? Okay, good. Okay. So the beach is good. We're going to test the beach. Here we go. So you just installed the beach. Let's test it. You can stop tapping, Linda, but good. Doesn't it feel nice? It's nice, right? Thumbs up on the beach. Okay, here we go. I want you to think of a mild disturbance. What I mean by that is on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 is no disturbance at all, and 10 is like the worst thing you can imagine. I want like a 1 or a 2 at the most. So an example of a mild disturbance might be the feeling you get when you step in dog poop. Like that feeling, you go, oh God, yeah. Maybe your phone dies when you're trying to send a text. Your Zoom signal is like breaking up. Mild disturbance, something mild, nothing more than that. Like your pencil breaks, I don't know, like, but please keep it mild. Let's not go to our worst trauma. It's not going to help. mild disturbance. Whatever your mild disturbance is, I want you to close your eyes and think of that happening. So like I use stepping in dog poop. I don't like that. It makes me want to vomit. So I have it. If you can concentrate and kind of notice where in your body, I know this is a weird thing, most therapists don't ask, but where in your body do you feel that sensation? Is anybody willing to like point to where they're feeling whatever they're thinking of? They're kind of where they're feeling a sensation, like they're with their mild disturbance. Do you feel anything in your body? Okay, good. Linda's feeling it in her shoulders. Yep, that's pretty common. Anyone feeling anything in their gut, like in their stomach? Because I feel it like, ugh. Yeah, okay, Doug's saying yes. Yeah, okay, so when you feel that disturbance, if it, whatever it is, like maybe you're late for work and there's someone in front of you that's like going the speed limit and oh, I hate that, like get out of my way. You know what I'm talking about? Those people who are like you need to go around them and you're like, why are you going the speed limit? You know, so that mild disturbance, whatever it is, I want you to hold that. What I want you to do is picture it wherever you feel it in your body. You can give it like a color and kind of imagine it's some sort of mist, like it's some sort of like misty thing. It can be black, it can be dark, it can be blue. You can make it whatever color you want. Mine is usually like a putrid green because I don't know why, this just grosses me out. So I'm holding this and I want you just to like get your tappers ready, like get your butterfly ready, don't tap yet. And what I want you to do is like think of this disturbance and like hold it and like feel it wherever it is. Like if it's in your shoulders, like imagine this mist kind of in your shoulders or in your stomach or in your heart or on your chest or in your head, wherever this thing is. And I want you to imagine this misty disturbance and it's coming up, floating to the center of your body. And it's collecting there. This thing feels so icky. It's this disturbing thing. And it's floating out of your head, out of the top of your head. And it's going right out, all of it, every little last drop. And suddenly, as it leaves your head, you're at the beach. And when you realize you're at the beach, and only when you realize you are at the beach, I want you to tap that in. But don't do it until you feel that disturbance has released out of your body. Does everybody understand? Okay, so you can close your eyes and get your thing ready. And everybody close your eyes. Do you need me to talk you through it? Do you want me to talk you through it? Okay, I'll cue you. Okay, so everybody close your eyes and get your butterfly ready. Okay, so close your eyes. Okay, think of your disturbance. There it is. Where you feel it, concentrate on where you feel it. And it's collecting and it's right there and it's turning into this misty thing. And it's collecting and it's moving towards the center and it's collecting kind of maybe in your throat. And it's moving up your head, up to the top of your head. And it's collecting right there at the top of your head. And it's seeping out and floating above your head. And as it does that, you're transporting yourself to the beach. And there you are in your special safe place, the beach. And you're sitting there and you're feeling the wind. And you're smelling the air. And when you're there, start tapping that in. Is anyone having trouble? Raise your hand. Did anyone succeed? Yeah. Oh, we did it. Yay. Oh, good. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Okay. We're going to try something else. Little bit. Oh, yay. Linda gave me a thumbs up. Yay. Okay. Perfect. Oh, I forgot about those things. Yeah. Give me a little thumbs up. Okay. So next thing, we're going to try it with something a little, okay. I want you to think of a recent situation, like something that's happened lately in the last couple of days or something, or last week. Something that's like still a mild disturbance. Please don't go to something really serious, like a car accident or something really awful, but something that's really bugged you. Like something that just didn't sit right with you, it bugged you. Something that's annoying. This could be like, maybe we'll escalate it, like maybe a 2 or a 3, no more than a 3, but like, you know, a little more than stepping in dog poop. You didn't like it. Where are you feeling that in your body? Anyone want to point? Is anyone feeling like, can you feel it somewhere in your body? Anyone feeling anything in their gut, in their stomach? Oh yeah, oh good, that's a good one. If you can feel it in your stomach, you know it's a good one. Okay, so everybody has their disturbance, whatever it is, the thing that happened. We're gonna try, I'm gonna see if you guys can do it without me talking you through it. Let's see. So remember what you do, concentrate where it is, collect it, turn it into a mist and float it out of your head. And as soon as it floats out of the top, you're like magically transported to your beach, whatever it looks like. Okay, get your tapper ready, get your butterfly ready. Okay, everybody, I'm gonna watch you. I want you to do your deep breathing, close your eyes, I'm watching. Feel it and begin. Is anyone having trouble? It's okay. This is hard. Is there anyone who did not succeed? Or is there anyone who's still trying and is having trouble? Did everyone get it? Oh, I'm super excited. Did everyone like give me a thumbs up? Do something. Yay. Okay, great. Oh, yay. Okay, good. Okay, this is really important. So this is not always going to work. It's just not. But this is yours now. This is yours forever. Whatever you created, this is yours. You own this. This is your resource. The more you use it, remember brain, you've created a neural pathway. Whenever you use it, the more often you use it, the stronger this is going to get. It's going to be, and listen, you have to practice. It's like any muscle, right? You got to kind of flex it and get stronger and stronger, that neural pathway. If it's difficult, that's okay. You know, sometimes we have to tweak things. So maybe the beach isn't exactly like, maybe you're not comfortable in a hammock. Some people don't like hammocks. You think it sounds relaxing, but maybe you'd be better on the ground in a chair. That might be the better option. So change something about your beach for yourself. Maybe you don't like the bright sun. Maybe you don't like being in the sun. So change that. Maybe it's sunset. Maybe you're looking at a beautiful sunset. to make it work for you, you can do whatever you want to make it your safe place. Sometimes people don't like being alone, and this is important. If you don't like being alone, that's okay too. Please don't put your partner or somebody like your best friend or somebody right next to you, because if you have a fight with them or something happens and you're mad, then your safe place isn't going to work because you're going to get triggered and be like, I don't want them to. So please, like what I recommend is people in the distance that maybe you don't know. You know, when you're like actually sitting on the beach and there are people you don't know and they're far away and you can't really hear them, but you're reading a book or something and they're like off in the distance, you know they're there, but they're not there. That's kind of what I recommend, because some people don't like being alone. That doesn't feel safe to them, and that's okay. Some people hate the beach. Let's be honest, not everybody likes the sand. Do you like the mountains? Maybe your safe place is, you know, sitting in a beautiful cabin by a lake in the mountains surrounded by trees. So you can create a safe place, whatever that is to you. But right now, like if you did this and this is working, yay. If not, create a difference. We can create a different safe place, or your therapist can, okay? If it's an EMDR therapist. So that's called safe place. It's a resource. It's something we put into place before we do EMDR, because EMDR, you know, we're doing stuff and sometimes we need somewhere safe to go. Sometimes we need a little break. But this is something you can use to reduce anxiety. Did you guys feel like when you thought of that disturbance, remember that disturbance I asked you to do, something that happened recently? What does it feel like now? Is it like when you think about it now, does it bother you? Does it still bother you? Doug's saying no. Janine is like raising her hand. Wait, here, hold on, let me check chat. What's happening? Yes, please go into this thing. I'm feeling less stressed. Yay. What about like, is anybody like your disturbance that you were thinking of? Like, is it bothering you as much? You might not have feelings about it at all. You should feel a reduction. That's bilateral stimulation. Oh, yay. No, not really. Isn't that cool? Voodoo magic. See? Yeah. Linda's like, oh, I can't hear you. You're muted, Linda. Unmute yourself.
Sorry, famous thing there. I have a question. So this is really helpful, but I'm also thinking of things that my daughter can do at school, and I don't see her doing this. What are some bilateral stimulation things that could be done less subtly or a little more subtly?
So bilateral stimulation is something that we do to put if she has this on board, it's something that she can use. Like if she has her safe place on board, you can do it really subtly we do walking in place. You can't see my legs. And I'm wearing, by the way, like pajama pants. So I'm not gonna show you, but like professional from the waist up. But you can like walk in place. That's bilateral stimulation. We also have people like tap their legs. In a meeting, I love this. So if she has this on board, she can use her safe place and just, people do it all the time. But you have to have something like this on board. That's why I showed you like this.
Yeah.
And like rubbing right here, because it's more subtle. And you can you're just sitting here like, doing your breathing, controlling, managing your breathing, reducing the tension. And it's still doing that. So little tricks like that. And the thing is like working with someone like a therapist, if you do this kind of stuff, please see someone who is trained or certified in EMDR. Please do not go to somebody who is like, oh, I've done some EMDR, like Emdr trained, that's our umbrella, who kind of supervises us and makes sure we're trained correctly. But please make sure it's somebody trained or certified in EMDR, because, or like going through their supervision, because EMDR is a very serious specialization. And I wouldn't send somebody who, for, I don't know, like treatment of, I don't know, like diabetes, who's like dabbling in it, right? this is brain stuff. Like, you want to get someone who really knows what they're doing and has done the training. And there are a lot of great people in our area. I have wonderful colleagues. I'm happy to, you know, if you guys want referrals to do these kind of things. And actually EMDR, it treats anxiety, it treats depression, and it treats PTSD. So there are other also alternatives as well that are similar, but this is with bilateral stimulation. But I wanted you guys to experience it because it is really powerful and it's cool. So there are a lot of great resources. There are things that, I know we're kind of running close on time. There are things I'm hoping that in the spring, when it's a little warmer, Doug and I are kind of like in talks to figure out if we can do like a school assembly kind of thing where I can teach the kids how to do this. So I can teach them how to do like Safe Place, and I might like teach them how to do a couple of other resources like this. So they have this stuff on board and they can use it. Again, it's not always going to work. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. But, you know, when it does, it's really great. But, you know, if you forget to use it, that's okay too. You're going to forget to use it. You're going to be really stressed. Like, I forgot to use my Safe Place. That's okay. Some people call this a peaceful place. I actually don't call it Safe Place. I actually usually call it peaceful place. I don't know why I call it Safe Place, because some people really disconnect from that word. I usually call it peaceful place. I don't know why I said that. I've actually never called it that. It's usually peaceful place for me. Does anyone have any other kind of questions or anything I can help with, or anything else? That's your little science lesson. No questions? Linda, pop back up. Hi, Linda.
No questions. That was just really helpful. I mean, I can see
Good.
myself using it, and also, you know, my daughter for test anxiety and things like that, just to kind of, okay, ground, because she'll just completely freak out sometimes.
Grounding exercises are great too. Like I do grounding exercises all the time. They're fantastic. There are a lot of them out there. One I really like is list it. Really easy. And what certain grounding exercises is also brain. So it's like it activates the other side of your brain so that your anxiety part of your brain is not able to function. So like list it. Categories. You have like a list of categories that you carry around, or you just know, like movies. You have to name as many movies as you can, like out loud. So you have to go like, I don't know, Disney movies. So you have to go, I mean, what's a Disney movie? And now I can't even do it because I'm all caught off guard, but like Little Mermaid, Princess and the Frog. When you're thinking of all these things, it's almost impossible to be anxious because the other part of your brain is working. So you can't concentrate. It's the same thing as bilateral stimulation. You're activating part of your brain so that the other side is not, does that make sense? Like, stay anxious. You can't focus on that thing that's making you anxious because you're actively doing something. If you've ever heard of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you've heard of that one? Like 5 things you see, 4 things you hear, 3 things. Yeah, that's also one of those grounding exercises. And it's the same reason it works is because you're thinking of this and saying it and having to focus on something. So it's like distracting the side of your brain that's anxious. It's the same concept. All that stuff really is great, grounding exercises, but you have to practice them. If you just only use them when you're anxious, they're not kind of on board. It's like a computer that's only turned on in certain situations. So practicing them when you're not anxious creates that neuropathway. And the more you use it, the stronger it gets. It's like a roadmap in your brain. Does anyone have any other questions? Anything I can help with? I hope this was helpful. I will provide any, if you're interested in any kind of EMDR or anything like that, or information on it, let me know. I'll send it to Doug. He can pass it on. Oh, Janine says she had a former supervisor who would tap her arms. She may have been doing this. Oh, thank you for saying, Kathy, that you couldn't tell I lost my presentation. It was a really cool like PowerPoint too. This happens to me. I don't know what happened. This happened to me once before. I hope it wasn't for TrinityPrep, but it happened to me once before. If you guys, I mean, any kind of questions that I can help you with, or, you know, I'm around. I have fantastic colleagues. We are so lucky in Charlotte and in this area to have wonderful psychotherapists, and we're pretty good at like referring and making. I mean, I have a lot of great colleagues I work with. So I mean, I specialize in something very specific. I do specialize with teens and pornography and addiction and gaming. So yeah, it's a thing. So that's kind of my specialization, but yeah, I do anxiety stuff, but that's kind of my specialization in trauma. But I have got great colleagues too who do other things. If that's a need, let me know. I can help.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. I mean,
Oh, thanks,
so
Doug.
good. You don't need a presentation.
Well, I'm not going to do one next time because it never helps.
It's so good. Just wing it every time. You just wing it.
Did this happen before?
I think it did, but you were great. You were awesome.
Thank you.
You don't need them. I think you're better without them.
Thank you. Okay. Well, you've never seen me.
I've never seen you with them.
True. It's true. It's okay.
Thank you so much for doing this.
You're so welcome. I'm happy to.
And for all the therapists out there, we couldn't do this without you. It's like we're all in this together, and definitely there's so much anxiety out there with all that's going on. And
yeah. Don't be afraid to ask for help for you or for the kids. Like this is a very, no one's ever done this before. No one's ever lived through this kind of situation, and parents and kids and everybody is feeling this. So don't think that anyone's alone or that this is odd, because everyone is feeling this.
That's true. That's what I hear more time and time again with kids coming to my office or parents and thinking I'm the only one, or I'm like, no, everyone is feeling this. Even people that didn't necessarily struggle with anxiety or depression now are struggling. I mean, it's across the board. And I mean, I'm so thankful for people like you to help us, and we need you. And I can't wait to have you out at the school. I think that will be great. We'll have to
be fun.
I think these techniques will help the kids.
Yeah. I hope so. Yeah. So you guys can show this to the kids. You guys can like kind of talk them through it if you want. You're not going to break anyone. It's just one of these things that it's safe. I checked with the supervisor even. I even called a supervisor and made sure, just to make sure. So I got it cleared. So don't worry.
Well, does anybody else have any other questions? If you don't, I'm gonna go ahead and end us. And thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me.
You guys have a great night.
Bye. It's so nice seeing you guys.
Thanks.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.